Welcome to the TADDM presentation. My name is and I will show you new features for computer system sensors. In this presentation, I'd like to describe following topics. First one is physical and logical processors. Next one is last reboot time, and the last one is virtual memory and paging space. For physical and logical processors, I will show you the business scenarios, why customers want to discover this part of computer's configuration. In next part, we will find out which platforms are supported and what kind of dependencies we have in this case. At the end of this topic, I will show you how it looks like in TADDM. At the beginning, we can ask why customers want to discover CPU configuration. What kind of profits they have based on this information. First of all, customers need detailed metrics about CPU, such as number of processors, number of cores, number of logical CPUs. I mean the threads number in this case. Basically, it means if hyperthreading is enabled or disabled. Moreover, customers want to count license based on CPU metrics. Physical and logical processors functionality is implemented for Linux, Windows, Solaris, AIX, and HP Unix platforms. In case Linux, AIX, and Solaris platforms, this content is discovered by typical and ASD discovery. Windows and HP Unix sensor doesn't have ASD discovery implementation, so the CPU configuration is available based on typical discovery only. Basically, we have a few limitations for this feature. TADDM doesn't discover CPU content for ZIL Linux. For Windows XP and 2003, two hotfixes are required because WMI doesn't provide whole CPU configuration by default. In case Solaris, CPU configuration is not discovered for local zones. But in this case, I mean discovery from global zone level. AIX sensor doesn't gather CPU content for WPAR, and HP Unix sensor doesn't collect CPU cores for PA RISC architecture and threads number for hyperthreading configuration. TADDM also discover new CPU parameters for Cisco IOS such as CPU speed and CPU type. So let's go to the TADDM. I just made few discovery for Windows, AX and HP Unix systems and show you CPU feature based on these platforms. So let's go to the data management portal to see more details. All basic information is available in General tab. And we can find number of CPUs, total number of cores, total number of logical CPUs. All details are available on CPUs tab. And here we can find CPU type, number of cores, number of logical CPUs and speed. And CPU state, is it virtual CPU or not? But this attribute is filled in from hypervisor level because only hypervisor knows if computer system is virtualized. In TADDM case, this is vCenter sensor and VMware computer system sensor. As we can see on this example, Each CPU has one core and each core relies two logical CPUs. It means that hyper-threading is enabled for this machine. So now let's look at the AX computer system. At this point, I have to make a brief introduction because AX might be only installed on power machine where the physical hardware holds the physical processor, which can be assigned as dedicated or shared to LPAR. But even though the processor is dedicated, it doesn't mean that AX receives physical processor from the power machine. It means that AX receives processing units which represent physical CPUs. Processing unit is described as entitled capacity parameter and has the fractional value. Moreover, based on entitled capacity, system receives these virtual processors, which can be also virtualized if SMT is enabled as logical processors. In the General tab, we can only find the total number of logical CPUs. All details are available on CPUs tab. On the following example, a target system has two virtual processors with 4 logical CPUs. It means that hyper-threading is enabled and each processor has 4 threads. But what about the processing unit's configuration? This info is available on LPAR info tab and described as desired processing units. So this is all information about CPU configuration for AX computer system. The last system which I want to describe is HP Unix. On the General tab we can find the number of CPUs, total number of cores and total number of logical CPUs. All details are available on CPUs tab. Here you can find CPU type, number of cores and speed. Basically, this is all information for CPU functionality. So let's go to the next topic. For the last reboot time, I also describe business scenarios, supported platforms, and show this attribute in TADDM. Basically, customers want to discover boot time for maintenance reasons. There's administrators and engineers use this parameter to determine what servers have not been booted since a patch was installed or which system have not been rebooted in over a year. This functionality is supported for Linux, Windows, Solaris, AX, HP Unix, and FreeBSD platforms. Let's go to the tab to see this attribute. This attribute is available on OS tab and is always displayed in UTC format. The last topic describes what kind of content is collected for virtual memory and paging space. Basically, customers want to discover these attributes in order to monitor memory utilization by operating system. This feature is supported by AX and Linux sensor, and that doesn't discover virtual memory and paging space for WPAR configuration. Let's go to the TADDM to see this functionality. Virtual memory is available in General tab. To find paging space configuration, please switch on the paging space tab. And here you can find following information: name, the type of paging space, size, and also the state, is it active or not. For Linux, in this place we have a priority. So this is all information which I want to describe in this presentation. Thank you for your attention. If you have any additional question, please contact with TADDM community by following website.